This is Steve Beverly asking for your help. WLJT Channel 11, West Tennessee's home for educational and quality TV since 1968, needs your financial support. We don't sell commercials. Instead, we rely on donations from viewers. Channel 11 is the most local station in all of West Tennessee, bringing you local shows about events, happenings, and issues important to West Tennessee. It's really easy to donate. Go to westtnpbs.org. It's quick, easy, and secure. Donate today and show your support for local, educational, and quality television. Channel 11 needs your support today.
What is the key to creating new jobs in Jackson and West Tennessee? Hello, I'm Peter Knoll. Straight ahead on Tennessee is Talking, the topics are jobs, businesses, and growing our local economy as we sit down with the leaders of the Greater Jackson Chamber of Commerce, one of the top chambers in the state and nation. So let the conversation begin.
We are rolling. Confirm record. Can we get a mic check? Check, check. Stand by camera 2. Take 2. Stand by announcer in 3, 2.
West Tennessee PBS presents Tennessee is Talking. Let the conversation begin.
Welcome to Tennessee is Talking. I'm Peter Knoll. Today we're getting the latest news from the Greater Jackson Chamber of Commerce, from creating new jobs to retaining our current jobs and much more. We welcome the Chamber's Chief Economic Development Officer, Mandy White, and the Chamber's Chief of Staff, Lindsay Dawkins, to the Red Couch here on Tennessee is Talking. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
You guys are some of the busiest people we know. There's always something going on at the Chamber. What's the latest?
Well, I think, at the end of the day, we were talking about our mission. It's to create jobs, create an opportunity for the people that live here, and to have an environment, a quality of life where people want to be, where people want to come to, and where people want to stay. So everything we do centers around our mission.
And you've been doing that a long time, like over 25 years, like 26 and a half,
That's
right?
That's right, 26 and a half.
Wow.
Who knew?
What are the changes that you've seen in the chamber in that time?
Technology, certainly. We used email when I started in 1999, but we didn't use it often. We were FedExing documents and maps, and now we draw everything on the computer. I think the internet has really changed what I do in economic development, in that used to people had to visit Jackson to learn about Jackson, but now by the time a company visits here, when they're looking where to expand or grow, they know as much about us as we do. They don't have to come kick the tires anymore. So the internet's really changed a lot.
So if they know everything there is to know about Jackson and the Madison County, what's that trip about? When they get here, what are you trying to impress upon them?
Well, I think for one, it's validating the information that they've read or that we've submitted. At the end of the day, companies are run by people. People are making decisions, and where we think we excel is in relationship building. It's about having authentic connections with people. A company that's going to invest $10, $20, $100 million wants to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so it's courting each other, really. We're seeing if they're a fit for us. We're seeing if they're a fit for them. And at the end of the day, we want to see if we want to partner long term.
And Lindsay, as the chief of staff, you must have your hands in a lot of different places at the chamber. Tell us, what are the biggest challenges right now facing the Greater Jackson Chamber?
Yeah, well, we do have our hands in a lot of different things, which is great because our staff truly loves Jackson, and we want our community to grow and succeed, and for other people to see the great things that are here and move here. And so, one of the things that we always say is obviously capacity. We want to do a lot more things, and we could use about 10 more staff to get everything done.
Same here at Channel 11. Same here. We've got a lot of ideas, but it's all about bandwidth.
It definitely is. And, one thing that we're working on, too, is, Mandy talks about, recruiting jobs, bringing those industries in. We're also working on recruiting people. is we want people to come and live here and work at those jobs that she's bringing in our existing industries. And so that's definitely one thing that we're working on, our staff is working on, and it goes back to that quality of life and livability of making Jackson, continuing to make Jackson a great place to live.
You know, I drive all around West Tennessee, and as I drive north, it's like every time there's a new apartment complex, all of a sudden, pop, there it is. It just seems like there's a big building boom for especially those apartment complexes. What is the latest with the housing situation in Jackson, Madison County?
I could start if you want. When Blue Oval City was announced, actually, we had been working on that project behind the scenes and couldn't say a word about it. So we were preparing quietly to roll out a housing and population study as soon as that was announced. And we wanted to see, what do we have, what do we need, what do we lack, and what do we expect our growth to be? Between 2010 and 2020, Madison County grew 1.5%. We expect, based on very conservative numbers, to grow between 11 and 13% in the next 10 years. So to put that into perspective, that's why you're seeing all these apartments and these houses, because if you build it, they truly will come. So we're trying to create that capacity so we can have places for all the people wanting to live here.
Is that happening? What are the challenges with creating that much houses and apartments and places of living?
It is happening. Mayor Massey, Madison County Mayor, announced a few months ago that Madison County had surpassed for the first time ever 100,000 residents based on new census numbers. So our study, that's why we think it's conservative, because the numbers are actually proving out to be that. And
so right now we have over 100,000 people right here in Madison
County. The challenge is, I think, it's, there have been at a national level interest rates and even supply and demand for a period of time. People weren't able to get the building supplies in, so that we're not having any unique challenges in Jackson that other people aren't having. But I think things are settling down now with the feds and even with the raw materials and the products getting in, and that's why you're now seeing that growth. And there's more to come.
And some of it was because we didn't grow for so long, that we did not build houses or apartments for a really long time. And so we're having to play catch up now. And so that's why you're seeing a lot kind of come at once, because we needed to, based on our study, we were behind on the housing a lot. And we're still not there. And especially on the single family housing units, that's something that we're still a little behind, but you're seeing some catch up on it.
I do think a challenge, I sit on the Planning Commission and we talk about this a lot, a challenge now is for any community is to create attainable housing and affordable housing, because products are so expensive now. And so even what used to be a really affordable first-time home for someone is quite a bit more expensive now than it used to be. So I think that's a challenge for everyone.
Our Madison County average price homes, where are those sitting and how do those stack up with our neighbors and the nation?
I don't know the specific average price of homes. I do know that in Madison County, we're roughly 12% less expensive. Our cost of living is 12% less expensive than the average city in the U.S. So we still are quite affordable, even though that number's different depending on, affordable's subjective.
Sure. One thing that I think you guys in the Greater Jackson Chamber does extremely well is celebrating achievements. And not it's just in celebrating the business community, the nonprofit community, and you do that at your annual celebration. And Channel 11 has been, honored to be able to televise that and bring that to everyone for the past couple of years. Tell us how that all comes to be.
Yeah, we're actually in the throes of putting that together because it's February 4th. Save the date for that.
Mark your calendars, February 4th.
But it is a way, we have over 1,050 members, and this is talking about what has happened in the past year in the chamber, but also what's happened with our businesses. We have some amazing businesses, from small businesses to our industries to our volunteers, and we want to be able to celebrate them and talk about the good things that are happening. And so we have a lunch every year to be able to celebrate those accomplishments and great things to recognize those folks. And so we're excited for this year, February 4th. And last year we moved it to the Civic Center. Going back to the Civic Center because we had outgrown our space.
It was so big because it was at Union.
Yes.
the very first year that we did it, and it was packed to the gills.
Yes.
Like shoulder to shoulder.
Yes. And then we moved it to another location at Union, and still so tight that it was hard to get in between tables for folks. And so that's why Civic Center was our next option. And so we were excited to have a lot of folks from the community, from our members, come and enjoy it. And so looking forward to February 4th.
And I love that program because the energy in there is contagious. It's 800 people, 800 people celebrating our community, 800 people that love our community and want to pat ourselves on the back and celebrate each other. And I just love when we can all come together to recognize that we are a wonderful place to live and to have a business. And it's really one of my favorite days of the year.
I just saw on Facebook that the Chamber, you guys were part of a trip to Washington, D.C. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I don't know who wants to start.
Unfortunately, I did not get to go.
Okay, I did.
You were on the plane.
I did.
You know, the photos look like it's a big party, and it's always.
It was a balance.
But you guys are actually working. There's a reason you're there.
Well, the first thing I'm excited to tell you is that we flew on Denver Air out of Jackson, Tennessee, and we chartered that flight.
Right here out of Jackson.
That's right. We chartered that flight and flew 48 business leaders to Washington, D.C., and did the things you would expect us to do. We heard from the National Association of Manufacturing. We met and heard from our elected officials. We, all the different agencies, the DOE, TVA, all those things you would expect. What I didn't expect as much, and shame on me, was the collaboration of the people that went. It was such a diverse group of people, from nonprofits to small businesses of all types to industries to elected officials, educators, and I heard people say the meetings were great. We had really good feedback, but what was even better was that time spent with each other to bond and network and grow relationships. So we're planning to do it again next year.
And it wasn't just Jackson folks too.
That's right.
Something, in our name Greater is there are regional folks that we were able to get to come along. And so we love that when other chambers are coming and other people from, if it's Brownsville, surrounding counties, Henderson, to come and be a part of this. And so I think it was a great, even though I wasn't there, but I heard great things of just those relationships. And then it's just, as they're having these meetings of next year when they go, and putting, I'm going to say, Jackson on the map for those people in DC, because we really haven't had a presence in DC. And so coming on their turf, so to speak, makes a big difference. So if we need to pick up and call the Department of Transportation to try to get more Denver Air support, now we've built those relationships. And that's the purpose of, outside of building the relationships within the community, but building those relationships within those departments that we want to get more to Jackson.
We heard on more than one occasion how impressed people were that a group this large came together to go for that purpose. So that made us proud.
But really visiting businesses and officials in other parts of the country, other parts of the world is part of your job. You're planning, you said, a trip to Japan.
Yeah.
And you've done that multiple times.
Yes. So my last 3 trips to Japan were with the mayors, with Jackson Energy Authority, and we have, you may or may not be aware, we have 7 Japanese companies in Jackson, more per capita than any other.
Can you name them?
I can. Do you want me to?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
We have UGN, Toyota Boshiku, Tennessee, TBDN, Green Metals, Pacific Manufacturing, Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Tennessee, and most.
Oh, give her an A+.
No.
I would be sitting by her.
So we have these 7 Japanese companies, and with any company, relationships are important. With the Japanese, even more so. So we go over every 3 or 4 years to simply say thank you. We meet at the corporate office of Denso, of Toyota Boshiku, of Toyota and others, and say, thank you for choosing Jackson. These companies have invested over $500 million in our community. They employ almost 3,000 people. That's not insignificant. So we want to make sure that if there are opportunities in the future where there's a chance for growth, that they remember Jackson, that we have visited on their turf to say thank you. This trip that I'm going on is with something called the Southeast U.S. Japan Conference, and I'll be going with about 60 people from across the state of Tennessee, including Governor Lee, to meet with companies that are over there and learn together, to grow together. Again, it's all about relationship building. I'll have some meetings while I'm over there too, and then I'm staying for 6 days for fun after, and I'm really excited about that.
Now, where in Japan are you going?
So the conference is in Tokyo, but I'll be traveling to Kyoto and Hiroshima and a couple of other cities.
I think she's fallen in love with Japan. Don't go moving away from Jackson.
I won't move, but it is such a lovely place to visit.
Tell me, what are some of the cultural differences that you need to be aware of, traditions, things like that, that you need to be aware of when you're meeting with these officials in Japan?
Well, the first thing to know is they are very quiet, which I'm not, so that's a little bit of a challenge for me, but silence is not a bad thing, and I think in America, if you're having a meeting, we want to fill that silence.
That dead air, no dead air.
No dead air. They're thinking it's important to allow the silence to happen. So that was one of the biggest challenges when I first started working with Japanese. Little things about where you sit. Here, the highest ranking official sits at the end of the table. There, it's in the middle of a table. You present business cards with both hands. I've actually literally taught a class on Japanese etiquette and cultural training.
Where do you take that class?
Well, I just did my first one, and I'm about to do another. Speaking of regionalism, and Bolivar, Tennessee had a Japanese food manufacturing prospect a few months ago, and they asked me to come down. So for their local leaders, I taught a kind of a cultural etiquette training class to help them be prepared, because it's for Japanese, to show that you have studied their culture and that you're trying to make them feel special goes a really long way.
What is the key to attracting jobs, creating new good jobs in Jackson? If you had to limit like top 3 things.
Why have we been successful? I think our team. I think the transparency and the trust that we're able to build and the relationships that we have with those that influence decisions. I think our utilities. Jackson Energy Authority, the single source for all utilities, is such a strong and compelling argument. Our location, our workforce. I mean, there are so many. There's
and going
so
back
many.
to relationships.
It's starts and ends with relationships. It's about doing what you say you're going to do, being where you say you're going to be, and admitting if you've made a mistake.
And really, our location is so central to the United. I mean, so many times before I even moved to Jackson in 2018, I've traveled on I-40 for years, like decades. I never thought I'd be living on I-40, but we are.
Yep.
It's a huge aspect of it. And, she talked about the team, and it's not just our team, but it's the community team. It's our city mayor, our county mayor, it's JEA, it's the state of Tennessee. It's all of us working together, and that makes a difference. People have talked about how well that team is.
No one cares who gets credit. That's important. Yeah.
So we've heard a lot about the federal government really trying to propel manufacturing in the United States, to reinvigorate that aspect. Are you seeing that? Are you trying to do that? Are you seeing like hints that that's happening?
Yeah, I think that, in the previous administration, a lot of dollars and time was spent with the Department of Energy in particular, for electric batteries, not just for cars, but for other things too. The U.S. is really behind the world. It's not a matter of if, but when we'll all be driving electric vehicles, or at least hybrids, probably before then. So I think you saw at a federal level that was the case, particularly with the previous administration. Now shifting a little bit to the American made, so that's helping to create even more jobs here in the U.S. I think, manufacturing, people wonder sometimes why, as a chamber, when more than 80% of our members are small businesses, why do we focus on manufacturing? Well, it's because small business is important. Manufacturing affects the economy more than any other sector. For every job in manufacturing, for every dollar that's invested in manufacturing, the multiplier's $3 to $5 or 3 to 5 jobs elsewhere in the community. So it's because we love small business and we want to support small business that we focus on manufacturing. It just makes the news more often.
What are people most surprised about Jackson when you tell them this, you know?
It's funny when we've had a couple of groups and from Louisville City, from Ford and SK, and we've been able to host them. And these are people that have been all over the world. And you know what they say every time? The people. It's the people that make the difference. That they just give that warm, homey sense of feeling.
It's true. I've lived all over, and the people in Jackson are the friendliest.
And it's one of those, it's hard to put on a banner anywhere. It's the people, but it's if we can get people here, they just have that sense of community. And we love that our people are our greatest asset.
What products are you guys most proud to tell people are made right here in Jackson?
Well, you have to say Pringles.
I always eat the Pringles.
It is always my because I tell my family all the time when I first came to the chamber, and I didn't know, even being here for 15 years before coming to the chamber, that Pringles were made here. I know, shame on me.
That's like one of the first things I'm like, I want to go on a tour.
Yeah. And so I tell my family, I'm like, look on the back of the Pringles. What does it say?
Mm-hmm. I think that, one of my goals is to have us as citizens drive by buildings and not just see cars in a building, but to be proud of the products. So, the fact that we're so involved in the automotive or in food, but, for example, there's a company, it recently changed names, but you would know it as Carlisle Fluid Technologies. They make little sprayers, and yes, they spray paint on cars, but they also spray the sugar on Frosted Flakes, and I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So those are the types of things I'm proud to tell people about.
And we had the Dixie manager speaking at the Rotary in Jackson. Tell us about that, because that was you guys were very instrumental in that.
That was Mandy's project.
Well, it was a team project for sure. Dixie did announce and has opened a new manufacturing facility in Jackson, a 900,000 square foot, $425 million plant.
Wow.
The largest single investment in our community's history. There are others that have done more over time, but they are just our newest, and we're so proud. I should have mentioned them. I have a whole box of their plates in my office
so they're
right
making
now.
Plates?
They're making plates, platters, bowls, and cutting boards here in Jackson, Tennessee. Their first plant they had located in decades, and it was a highly competitive process that lasted about 18 months. And at the end of the day, the other places had great sites. The other places had great utilities and locations, but it was the relationship and the people that won it over.
How long did you, just to give people a sense, this isn't like, this is my project for the week. How long did you spend working that relationship and working that project?
It was about an 18-month project from when I received the 800-question RFP that they sent over.
800 questions?
It was about 18 months from then to when we were
I would be like, delete, but you started answering them.
I did. I answered them, and I guess we did okay. The process is so unique. It does take time, and you're trying to just make the cut. And so every time I'm not trying to win a project, I'm trying to win the next visit, the next ask, the next conversation, and we just kept having conversations. We kept dating. And then
that's right. She got the rose every time.
I did. I say it's like The Bachelor. I'm trying to just get a rose every week, and then ultimately we'll do the others.
What do you think would surprise most people watching about the chamber? You're like, no one has any idea about this aspect. For each of you.
It's a good
Lindsay.
question.
I don't know.
Oh, very good question. I think of a lot of things that happen in the community that the chamber, we really don't care about credit, and I love that about our team. But we've been at the forefront or the leading a lot of major things that have happened in our community that no one ever talks about, from conversations from Middle Fork Bottoms to, the city planning to updating our parks, different things. Some of those things have come from our strategic plans or our initiatives, and so we're pretty much at all the seats at the tables. which is great, but most people don't realize that.
Mandy, what would you say is that thing that like no one has any idea?
I think that's so hard to say because we've done a better job of promoting the things we're involved in. I think the fact that we're, we started it in the early 1900s. I don't know that people recognize that we're one of the oldest chambers in the state.
When did you guys start?
It's like 1904, 1905. There's a discrepancy, so
Wow.
we're not exactly sure.
And you weren't there at that point.
I was not. I was not close, but no, I was not. So I think just the fact that we have been around a long time and we have evolved and have changed based on what the community needs at the time. I didn't used to recruit people to Jackson, but now I do, and I need to. And so I think it's just, we're an organization that's been willing to change and grow and be just reflective of what the community needs at that time.
So, as you're on an elevator in Japan and somebody says, tell me about Jackson, what's your elevator pitch in 30 seconds?
Well, it depends on who's asking, but if it's an industry, I'll go into an industrial type question. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say we're located on Interstate 40, right in the heart of West Tennessee, about halfway between Memphis and Nashville. We may not have a beach or mountains, but we have something for everyone. And if you could just come visit and see the companies that have chosen to locate in Jackson that could locate anywhere in the world, you can see why. We can show you the parks, the schools, the utilities. We can really easily convince you that you would choose Jackson, Tennessee, too.
And your website, if people need more information or to keep track of the Greater Jackson on February 4th, 2026?
JacksonTN.com, and then we're on all the main social medias as well, so follow us, like us. And
if you have questions about, your website is so full of facts and information, maps, graphics. It's a wealth of information for anyone. Website again?
JacksonTN.com.
Thank you guys for coming and sitting on the red couch and giving us an update on all the great work that you guys do. Really
we like
appreciate
what we
it.
do just a little bit, so we're
That's
happy
great.
to be here.
That's great. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And we'll have you guys back.
Thanks.
But that does it for this edition of Tennessee is Talking. Again, our thanks to Lindsay and Mandy for joining us from the Greater Jackson Chamber. If you want to watch this program again or share it with a friend or family member, it's really easy to do. They're streaming on demand, as all local Channel 11 programs are on the PBS app. And you can also watch it on the WLJT YouTube channel and our website, westtnpbs.org. And keep the conversation going by following WLJT on social media. Until next time, keep on talking, Tennessee.
Do you have a topic you'd like to see discussed on a future episode of Tennessee is Talking? Maybe you want to be a guest and have something to talk about. Send your ideas to tnistalking@westtnpbs.org. Include all your contact information and let the conversation continue.
Hello, this is Tom Britt. West Tennessee PBS is working hard to bring you more local shows and quality PBS programs. And they need your financial help because they don't run commercials, they rely on your support. It's easy to donate. Go to their website, westtnpbs.org, and click on the Donate tab. Your donations to Channel 11 stay local and help WLJT-TV continue their mission to be as local as possible.